Hey, Nathaniel.
What is it, Brenton?
Why you not making the pizza?
You told me to make a podcast.
What podcast?
The classic movie podcast.
Does it fit in the oven?
You'll fit in the oven. Yeah. You know what I'm hating these days, Brenton? Like,
what are you hating these days, Nathan?
public transport is just the worst. Like, okay, so we're from the Gold Coast, right? And so we're used to just driving everywhere. You got your own cars. When I moved to Sydney, I'm just like, yeah, nah, public transport's so good in Sydney. I'm not going to drive anywhere. I'm just going to catch the bus.
There is absolutely no need to drive anywhere here in Sydney. Unless, there's a few instances, but they're not worth getting into. Like, they're usually places no one really goes to.
Look, school time is ramping up a fair bit here in Sydney. And I tell you what, going to work in the mornings where there's just kids, just chockers, just like crowded on like the trains, it's like doing my head in. Like, I love children. They're awesome. I think we should have children on the planet, but just not on trains in like at 7:30 in the morning.
You know, I can understand where you're coming from in the sense that I too have been. You tell you what it is though, Nathan.
What is it?
I think it is that when I'm on a train and there's a bunch of not teenage boys, younger than teenagers usually, around the 10-year-old age, they seem to be playing Minecraft on their iPads and phones and laptops. And it does my head in, this incoherent Minecraft chatter. I mean,
and like it's all they talk about. Like you and I when we were kids, right? Like I'm sure we talked about very like dumb, tedious topics. Like I don't know, like Lilo and Stitch, or like, you know, who's better at Tiggy, like all that kind of stuff. But I swear to God, all these kids, all they have is just their fucking iPads, and they have them like, they all got them, by the way. I don't know like who's funding this, but every bloody child in the city has an iPad, and like they're all just on it in these trains. Like they're standing in corridors and that they're elbowing their arms out and like nudging people like old ladies,
but
just so they can tap their screens to get whatever qubits or pixels they have on their game.
But they're also just screaming incoherently about nothing. And then suddenly the conversation will usually end with, but Brad likes Susan, and then this
yeah,
like
they'll veer back into normal stuff.
Yes, exactly, yeah. And it's nice to know that like young 10-year-olds are still out there alive and alive and well, and you know are happy to communicate and speak their minds. But come on, it's called the quiet carriage for a fucking reason.
I mean, you're not wrong. Like, you're not wrong. Like, it's like quiet. That's the thing. I always sit in the quiet carriage because I'm like, I'm not going to talk to anyone. I'm just going to have my headphones in, listen to a quality podcast on the way to work because that's what we should all be doing. Hey. Shameless plug. But like, no, these kids, they're just. All they do, and they smell. That's the thing with these teenagers as well. Like they either like smell of BO because they don't know how to bathe or know what the word soap means, or they just overdo the Lynx Africa to the point where you're just like, I suffocate.
Yeah, I think the first thing I think it could be because, you know, they either smell of BO because they haven't been introduced to like deodorizer yet. Like they haven't been introduced to deodorant, and the ones that have been introduced to, like you said, like it's like Lynx Africa. Have you smelt Lynx Africa, Nathan? It's awful.
I don't know what inspired me as like a 14-year-old to get it. I think it was like those like Lynx ads where like the kid just like is on the TV and he sprays it once and like a billion women just suddenly run up to him.
It's also like there's that little it's like that this plus this equals this, and it's like Lynx plus woman wearing bikini equals it's Lynx plus man spraying Lynx equals woman with bikini on, and that's on the back of like every single like Lynx can. Have you seen that? Like it's like I remember that when it came out,
isn't it? Like yeah,
it is. It's not weird. Like it kind of makes sense, I guess. I mean, I've heard that men are more visual in their orientation, whereas women prefer language and
it's just like dumb Joe just like I just want women, so like Joe just like sees a can and the story's like, oh, me plus deodorant equals women. Or do I get that?
But like does Lynx still have that on the back of their cans? Have you purchased a Lynx can recently, Nathan?
No, because I'm an adult, Brenton. Like,
well, you know, we do sound like two old men bitching about
we really
young
us,
people.
Like in our early 20s. Can you imagine us when we're like 40, like we're gonna be like those. Like, what's the old blokes from the Muppets? Like those two
Oh,
guys.
yeah.
We're gonna be them, but like at age 40. Like
I'm aiming for 30, Nathan. Like,
just keep going lower.
I feel like we're already high on the spectrum of cynicism.
Yeah.
And probably by the age of 40, we're gonna get to the point that like we're past the point of being on that spectrum.
Yeah.
That we've created like a new word, like that's beyond cynical. It's not something I'm proud of, but if you are a child on the train playing Minecraft, just keep your voices down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to hear about the pigs and the sheeps and the zombies with the bow and arrows from Minecraft.
Oh.
Because I play it 24/7 in my own time. Hey, welcome
We're
to Classic, a movie, a Banter.
I can hear you still trying to do the Italian accent. Like,
yeah, trying.
Could we do this entire episode in Italian? Just
we could attempt it, but
hey, it's a Spellbound. It's a good movie. See, my Italian accent's so garbage. Like, we'd fall apart.
Mine's worse than yours. Nathan said to me before we started recording, he was like, "Let's do our intro in Italian accents." And I said, I can't do it, Nathan. I'm awful at the Italian accent. I'm good at other accents, I think. And then he said, "Oh, come on, but you could do Mario, right?"
Yeah.
And I said, "I can go Yahoo!" That's it. That's all I got.
Yahoo!
That's all I got. But we persevered.
We did.
And we hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know why I'm saying thank you, but like, yeah. So we've had a pretty cool response to the show. I've had people in my private life be like, "You guys are doing good stuff," and it's good. Like what is this now? Five eps in? Like
5 eps in?
Yeah. It's halfway through single digits. It's nice. It's nice getting the good words. So
still going strong.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
If you've listened, if this is your 5th episode by now, like I know why you're sticking around, but thank you. Like, thank you, Mum, for sticking around. Like, you're really doing us good stuff.
Yeah, we do appreciate our audience and our mothers, of course.
Of course. Which one do we prefer? You tell us. But
we do. We really would like to thank everyone for sticking with us to episode 5. So what film are we going to talk about today? You did spoil it already, but just to be clear, what film are we talking about today, Nathan?
Well, do you want to pitch me this movie, Brenton?
I'd love to pitch you Spellbound.
Pitch me Spellbound.
Directed by Alfred Hitchcock. Released in...
Did you say Alfred Hitchcock you did?
Oh, Alfred Hitchcock.
Is it be a blimey Hitchcock?
It was released in 1945, mate.
1945? Crikey, that's a big year.
That's a big year.
That's the year Spellbound came out. Nothing else happened that year.
No, it didn't.
No.
Don't read history. No, actually, please do. Please do. History is important, and we should all read up on our history. So I'd love to pitch you Spellbound. I'd love to.
Go.
Spellbound is about a bunch of psychoanalysts that are in a facility helping and rehabilitating a bunch of, common people, civilians. And unfortunately, the leader of this bunch of psychoanalysts, let's say the head of the facility, has come to the end of his tenure and he's moving on. And a much younger doctor arrives at the facility to take his place.
Ooh. And
it would appear that this doctor is not quite all what he seems.
Dun, dun, dun.
Spellbound, 1945. That's my pitch.
Coming to a cinema never near you.
How does that sound? Was that
That's
all right?
a good pitch, actually.
Yeah.
You know what? If I was like a big Hollywood producer, if I was a Kevin Feige, I'd be like, this isn't a Marvel film, but I'd still produce it.
Can I ask why you did an ochre Australian accent when you went, oh, Kevin Feige?
Or Kevin Feige. Because I imagine if you sat down with, if you don't know, the guy who runs Marvel is called Kevin Feige, and he's like this like just random American dude. But I imagine if like you did sit down with him, I'd want him just like to pull off a mask and be like secretly Paul Hogan.
I'm actually from Adelaide, mate. Oh, that was Cockney, but
yeah. I'm actually from Adelaide. I don't think you are, Brenton. Like, I think there was a lies.
I think I'm from the Gold Coast in Queensland. Currently living in
Brenton's
Sydney.
Like, yeah, I can do accents neck minute.
I know, right? Yeah.
That was good. So, Brenton, what do you think of Spellbound?
I liked it.
I liked it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good film, isn't it? This is actually a really, really good film in my opinion.
Yes, I would agree. Yes.
Yeah, there's like every time I sit down to watch a Hitchcock film, I forget how much I love Hitchcock. Like he's just like everyone like talks him up and like, you know, he is a little bit overhyped sometimes, but you know what? Most of the time he does deliver. Like he is quite good.
Does he deliver on this film though, would you say?
Yes. I've seen a handful of Hitchcock films and like I don't know, this is up there in my opinion. Like I think this is really solid. Like a really good mystery thriller, like tense, and you're just like, what's gonna happen? Like it is attention grabbing, and I'm a fan.
Yeah, it's having watched this so recently, I can't really say if it is a masterpiece or not.
Yeah.
The more I think about it, the less I think of it as a masterpiece. That being said, not everything has to be a masterpiece, and this is still quite good. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So where should we start with this? I mean, how do we tackle?
Let's talk
film?
about like, I don't know, maybe let's go with the characters. I think characters are always a good point to start.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? For a film set in 1945, I thought, or made in 1945, I love the female protagonist in this. I thought she was quite excellent.
Dr. Constance Peterson.
Constance. Hello, Constance. How are you?
Hello, very well, thank you.
Constance, would you consider yourself an intelligent person?
I would, thank you, yes.
Because you don't act that intelligently in the film, may I say.
She doesn't!
She's so dumb.
Oh
my god.
Oh dear. Oh dearie me.
You can't see the colour of her hair because it's a black and white film, but like, it's blonde. We all know she's blonde.
Getting into...
No offense to our blonde listeners.
I just realised what you were saying then.
Oh yeah, because we're in non-spoilers, so like we have to be very careful.
No, of course. But I will just say, yeah, in terms of criticism for the film, coming from a place of love and saying that this is a good, a good movie.
We should sell this film first.
Yeah, it's funny that you brought that up. I was going to say, because some of the characters in this film would be my only real, maybe criticism of it. But let's get into that later. Like you said, let's
start off like on the visual language, because this is a very beautiful film.
Oh dear, let's start off on the language as well. This is
the language itself.
This is such a well-written screenplay,
isn't it? Though,
yeah,
really sharp dialogue. It's not like the quick back and forth you expect today. It's just like well written like scenes, just with the characters just like saying what needs to be said.
Yes, I love it when films or any form of entertainment that uses language, let's say, is able to set things up in a story and then deliver on those promises, let's say. And sometimes they're so subtle that you don't even know they're set up, but they lead to like such consequential moments in the film that it's quite impressive. And it shows that, I guess, Hitchcock and all the creatives working on this had such a handle of where this story is going, even though it would seem that it's quite convoluted, because it is a mystery thriller at the end of the day, that it's quite, convoluted, and, there's a lot of twists, let's say, in this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of twists in this film. And that's like, you go into Hitchcock expecting that, but like, I don't know, it's funny because the film, like, it starts with you in this psychiatric ward or psychology center and that whatever it is, and there's all these different victims of who are being trialed for their mental issues, and you think it's just going to go one direction, but then it just escalates, and it dives into this really intrinsic plot, and you're not sure where you're going. And I love that. I love like genuinely not knowing where a film's going.
Yes.
And it's a surprise. And with Hitchcock that you don't get with other filmmakers, that he genuinely knows how to make something that isn't very tense, a tense moment.
Yes. And yes, I agree totally. In terms of visual language and also use of sound in this film to build tension.
Good
in terms
score.
of great score. Da, 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 da. That theme has been in my head the last few days. It's a wonderful score, but also like the way that music blares, and then it could be something that would be seemingly redundant, I guess, that's being shown on camera. And obviously it's not, given where the film goes.
Yeah.
But immediately as a listener, you're on edge, and you're not sure why, because obviously it's something that's seemingly redundant. But as the plot unfolds and the characters, let's say, express their true feelings, it's a wild ride. And,
isn't it?
And I was on board for pretty much every moment. Yeah.
Same. This film is not perfect. It's far from perfect. But like, there's like, it's beautifully shot. But there are some there's some funny zooms and just some like, there's some weird camera angles in this. Like, because it's early Hitchcock. So
of course, it's still of its time. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the special effects, when there are special effects, are not very good. and but like it's endearing. Like, you got to remember that you're looking through this through a 1945 lens, and the reason like this film is good in my eyes is because like the story and the performances like hold up. And
Yes.
like a lot of the other stuff doesn't. Like, I do like black and white films. I think they can be quite strong. Like,
I agree.
There's no color.
Yes.
There's not color. I speak English, but there's no color. But like there is, I don't know, there's like a general, just like the tone of this film, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yes.
you know what I love about this film actually? It's like a classic Hollywood film, like with the beautiful soundtrack and like Gregory Peck, who plays like the main dude. He's like so there's a patient and there's who he plays, and she's the main chick. So the journey of the film, you follow these two, and like the dialogue they have is like, you know, like, I will never know how to feel again. And she's like, no, you must feel again. It's like that old classic like Hollywood. It's like when you watch a movie in like the 80s and the characters in that film are watching a movie from the 40s. This would be the movie that those characters are watching, like that classic old cinema, like it's almost stereotypical, but like, I don't know, it still feels fresh at the same time.
It's not. I think it's like actors of the time that have been trained in a certain, let's say, way.
Yeah, it's very classical.
Yeah, that are
Almost classical movie, would you say?
With a little bit of a sprinkle of some banter in there as well. It's classic movie banter.
Oh. Logo synergy, like
shameless plug.
In case you forgot the podcast you're listening to.
No, but seriously,
yeah,
in case you forgot, yeah.
That's our podcast. Please like and star and do what you can.
Yeah,
like,
do everything.
Yeah.
But great movie, yeah. Spellbound.
Really good film.
Yeah.
I thought, you know, well done. The soundtrack's awesome. Good twists.
Great themes too. Like I thought it explored some interesting things in this movie as well.
That's nothing. It's intelligent. Like, because it starts off. I think the film starts off very obvious. Like it's like, we're going to be talking about psychology. Like they talk about Freud. A lot. You know what? A criticism is that a lot of this film is like a lot of old doctors standing around this like woman, just being like, "Oh, you don't respect Freud, and like you don't know Freud's third theory," and like they're all talking like, you know, they've got sticks up their asses, but and like it sounds like a little bit of like, you know, pretentious stuff, but once you move past it and it actually dives into the human drama, like that's where the interesting stuff happens. And like later on, there's a third main character who's introduced who, you know, gives their 2 cents about, you know, psychology and that kind of stuff. And overall, the film is trying to say something about like the human psyche, and that's what makes it stand out.
It starts. Yeah. You're very right. Like it starts off quite simple. But these relationships are a lot more complicated and become a lot more complicated during the film. It's interesting as well that we talk a lot about plot twists, because I'd say that one of these plot twists happens very close to the beginning. And you would think that plot twist has such complications and consequences for the plot that you'd think that it would have nowhere to go, but it does have all these alleyways that it kind of explores, and it still holds the baton to the end of the race. Let's say, it really rides that ride home. It continues to show its excellence throughout this film, and that's a hard thing to do, I think. And I would put that again down to the screenplay, to the director, and obviously these great actors that are all, you know, giving great performances. I think this is a great ensemble cast. Yeah,
it really is. And like, I didn't really have like any main issues with any of the actors. Like,
no.
Oh, there was the chick at the start, like the first patient she sees. What's her problem, man? Like,
oh, okay.
Because she's
literally the first
character.
scene.
Like,
yes,
it's literally the first scene. It's not really a spoiler. But like, the film opens with like, what's her name? What's the actress's name? Ingrid Bergman or something like that. Like,
who plays the doctor? Ingrid Bergman. Yeah, you're correct.
Like, she's interviewing this like random chick, and I thought this chick was going to be the main character. Like,
so it's funny you say that, because I thought the exact same thing.
There you go.
And not criticism, because it's not. It didn't bother me, so to speak, but it's interesting that we both thought she's going to be the main character, and I just said that even the little setups have great consequence throughout the film. That's a setup that doesn't really have a consequence, but it it does in the sense that it's focusing on other things when you think it's focusing on that character, but it's not.
No.
In that scene, which is good. It's interesting. Like
it is very interesting.
Like thinking back on it, yeah.
Yeah.
She was but yeah, I agree. It was it was a performance that stuck out, let's say, from the rest of the actors. But maybe as well because the character is the only character, I think, main character in the film that isn't a doctor, maybe?
That's true, yeah. Yeah, without spoiling things, that's like, yeah. That's probably true. Yeah.
So...
I don't know. This film, I don't know. I think this film's like excellent because like it's just I've never seen anything like it. It's really Hitchcock sitting down and going like, how can I make a film that like this? How can I make a cinematic interpretation of these psychoanalytic theories that Freud has written? That's kind of what this whole film is about. It's like him trying to explore these ideas through like a narrative of like a mystery thriller. And if that entices you, then this is like your thing. Like if you want intelligent old cinema that feels classic Hollywood, that has like it's like you're watching like Sound of Music, or you're watching like, you know, Singing in the Rain, or like you know, Citizen Kane, like all the greats,
or
like,
even like a very old film noir style, in that genre, like a film noir film, yeah. It's
got that same like that warmth of like a old Hollywood kind of film, like just that relaxes the muscles. Like that's what this does.
I was going to bring up that point because the only thing that would stop me from giving this film a recommend, thumbs up, like you should watch this is worth your time, is the fact that you have to be aware that you're watching something from old Hollywood, like you said, that is from this period in time.
Yeah.
Because for one, these films are quite a lot slower than the films that come out today.
Yeah, but not badly slow.
No, it's not.
Case. Yeah.
No, it's not. But it's not focusing on Thor or like these grandiose heroes. It's focusing on real human connection and drama.
Even if you like just dramas from nowadays, you'll like this. Like it's fine. Like if this is your first ever old Hollywood film, this should not be your first. Like this, don't start with this. No, but like if you've seen an old Hollywood film and you like it, like you've liked Casablanca or you've liked just any film before the 1950s, like then great, give this one a go. This is your piece of cake. But
and if you haven't, I'd still say watch it, but just know that it's going to be something completely different from what you might have experienced before.
This is good. What? So wait, should we rate the movie?
Sure, Nathan. Yeah, let's do it.
So what are you giving this?
I was a bit conflicted on this at the start of the episode in the sense of what I just brought up.
Yeah.
And going into that and listening to you more, I'm thinking that I will give this this is definitely worth your time.
Yeah.
Because I feel it's to the detriment of the audience to say, oh, but some of the audience might not have experienced old Hollywood and that might get in the way. If you haven't experienced that, then maybe watch a few more films in this genre. And if you haven't, go into this. It's still really worth your time, but just know it's something that is a different experience because it's a different point in our history.
100%. I so agree with you on all that. I'm giving it a thumbs up too. I think like our classic meter for this is that we say Netflix on a Thursday night. You're just going through the movie titles. Spellbound comes out. Would you watch it? Yes. I think this is great for that kind of scenario. Great film. You finish the day, watch this for 2 hours. You get absorbed into it. You get generally hooked. You'll be talking about this the next day.
It doesn't feel too long.
No, it really doesn't. It
wasn't too long. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just classic Hitchcock. I think compared to other Hitchcock films I've seen, I personally liked this more than Vertigo. I think Rear Window was still the best Hitchcock film I've personally seen. I have not seen North by Northwest yet. I have seen Psycho. Psycho's pretty good, but I think I like this more than Psycho. So that's where Hitchcock's films sit for me.
I'm not even going to go into Hitchcock's filmography as of yet because I haven't yet decided where this sits for me.
Oh, okay, fair.
Yeah. And perhaps that's a good thing, perhaps because I'm not quite sure whether I should put this, but I'm honestly not sure whether it's going to be at the bottom or near the top.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, and it just shows you, I guess, the breadth of Hitchcock's filmography and how different, I guess, all of his movies are.
Yeah.
So yeah, Spellbound, great movie. A few little criticisms in there, but again,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'd recommend it.
Pretty good. Have a good time with it
for sure.
Yeah. All right. So, I can't imagine many people would have seen this movie already. So
no.
If you're around, if you're gonna stay for spoilers, like do watch this film first. It is important. Like, this is one of the ones I would recommend. I'd watch this. I'd definitely watch this. Like,
Yeah,
before listening to this section.
We did a good job in this podcast, Nathan. We hardly gave anything away.
We're so good, man.
But because of that, if you haven't watched this film and you're going into this spoiler section now, you're gonna be deeply shocked by some of the things
this
we're
film
about
changes.
to say.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Is there anything else we need to talk about before we go into the spoiler sections, Nathan?
Nope. Let's just do it.
Let's do it. Spoilers. Nothing but spoilers. Nothing but spoilers. Spoilers of Spellbound. So I'm really excited to talk about. In fact, coming into this show, I'm very excited to talk about the spoilers for this film, because some of my criticism that we were kind of going into before on character and character decision making, I think is worth talking about, and I'm not quite sure whether it is a total criticism yet, because I think a lot of these decisions that these characters make in this film could be justified, and I feel like we might justify them during this conversation.
Ooh, how convenient. You've come to the right place. You've come to the right psychiatric ward, Mr. Brenton.
Welcome to Gryffindor.
This film's fucked up. Like, this film's like this is a bonkers film. Like, I know what Freud Hitchcock was reading, but like, what was the man on? Like, so this film. So now proper plot recap. So this film is about this dude, this male patient, rocking up to this psychiatric ward, and he pretends to be one of the doctors who's like
well, he doesn't even know he's pretending at this point.
That's the thing. He believes he is like a psychiatric doctor, and like he ends up falling in love with like the main chick, and she falls in love with him, and then he's like, wait a minute, I have amnesia, I have no idea who the fuck I am, and then he's just like, quick, let's and by the way, I might have killed someone, and she's like, okay, let's and she's like, rather than just being like, what the fuck, she's like, let's see how this goes, and then she just runs away with him, and they go into like some weird hut like retreat with this like. Who?
With this associate, let's say, of her
old
yeah.
like wizard, and like
wizard. Yes, this other this associate of her own, who is also a psychologist and a doctor.
Yeah.
And they try to treat this man.
Yeah, and then he ends up and he has these weird flashbacks, and this film's all over the shop.
It goes all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's I struggle to kind of, because I wasn't around on that set at the time, whether Hitchcock actually thinks that human brains work in this way, but and maybe they do, maybe I'm missing out on something, but it's, and to a certain extent it is true, I guess true.
Yeah.
But God, it goes in some directions that are quite interesting.
God.
So first of all, I'll agree with you at the start. For one, the fact that she goes, like, she leaves.
She's an idiot. Like, I don't know, like, what, like, first of all, them falling in love, like, that moment, I love, it's like a classic Hollywood film where, like, the music, like, comes in and they both, like, stare at each other and, like, they walk to each other slowly, and he's like, I never saw you before. And she's like, you're my favorite person. And they just like lean in. Like,
was that the scene where they were having the picnic, or is this the scene when they were?
Oh my God, there's so much to talk about with this film. Can we talk about the picnic scene briefly?
Of course, we can.
It's so
Nathan.
okay. I literally wrote this down when I was watching the film. So like, there's a scene where like, they had that flirtatious kind of banter, and then she's like, where is it? He's like, oh yeah, that's right. She's like, she says to him, I want to take time off, I'm not feeling that well. And then he's just like, I'm not feeling that well either. And then like they just pause, and then it hard cuts to them like in the middle of a fucking field in the middle of nowhere. There's no explanation as to like how they got there, because they're on their lunch break. Like, they just go straight from work to the middle of like the desert.
It looks like
this, like farm in like Wyoming or something like
it
that.
looks like the Swiss Alps almost.
Genuinely,
It's on top of these
in the middle of a
mountains
to this like open farmland and they're like cutely like climbing over a fence or some shit like that.
I was gonna say that like there's all this farmland, and then they spend the scene climbing over a fence.
Yeah,
and it's still fucking romantic. It's
so stupid. It's like you would have spent like an hour at least getting
there. But I mean
there.
that as a compliment. The fact that it's still like romantic, and it's
the soundtrack saves a lot of this movie, because like
that is true. Yeah,
if the soundtrack wasn't so bloody good, like because you buy it, you really like emote in this film.
But so she discovers that this man is not who he actually is due to his handwriting not being the same as the real Dr. Edwards, which was a great reveal.
That was I was like, that was an oh shit moment.
Yes, and due
Like-
to his like behavior is like all over the place during the opening
he's a
minutes of
mixed
this
bag.
film. Yeah,
But I love that moment where like she's like, oh, I want to read your book, and he's like, ooh, and like he almost like it's almost like he knows, and then like she opens up the book, and the camera just like casually like pans to like the letter he sent, and then like the actual signature in the book, and you can see her face, and it's like fuck, she's just like, this is not the doctor, and like. Oh, I was expecting him like just to suddenly appear behind her with like a knife or some shit like that. Like I wanted to go like a psycho route.
Yeah. I struggle though because it would seem that she is stupid for trusting in this man and I'm on board with that to a certain extent, but I'm trying to justify in my mind whether it's she is stupid or that she is so smart in terms of her psychology that she senses who this man's true character and self is
Well, she does.
beneath all of that.
Because like that's like her main argument. Because like even when she like meets up with her associate, he's like, "Why are you still with the student?" She's like, "I know him. Like he's not the man you think he is." And he's like, "You've known him for like 2 days."
That's right. But as a viewer, you're thinking, is that just the love potion talking? Because
That's the
she's
love potion.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
But the more I think about it, the more I can justify her decision making that
Hmm.
maybe there's some part of her own psyche that recognizes deep down plus all of this psychological and emotional lies that have, cultivated into this new being in front of her. Beneath all that, she can sense the trauma and the person that this man really is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Like,
And that's from me thinking about this for,
I know.
for a
Like, yeah,
few
and when you're
years.
watching it, you're just like you idiot. Like, I don't know. Like, because she risks like everything. Like when he's like hiding out in the hotel, and she just like goes up to see him, and
And she lies. Like, she lies to people
Yeah.
so much in this movie as opposed to coming
like
clean.
almost like a trained liar. Like she's done this a fair bit before.
Oh,
Like,
yes. Like,
yeah.
it's...
But there's real tension when she
Yes.
lies. Like one of the most tense scenes in the movies, which I loved, was when the doctors come in to ask, and with police, near them like start like asking her like, "Oh, have you seen the guy? Like, have you seen Gregory Peck? Like he's gone bonkers." And like she's like, no, what? But then like that letter is on the floor, and like and you're like, it's so obvious someone's going to see it. And then they do see it. And the guy's just like, oh, yeah, here you go. And just passes it over.
I wrote a note in that I paused the movie and wrote a note. And the note reads as such. "The fuck, dude? ? You pick up an envelope and hand it over? ! Because in
Whoa.
that scenario, when someone...
A murderer.
We think
And
that they
yeah.
think is a murderer has fled the scene and has had intimate relations with this woman. You just pick up a note that's been slid under the doorway, sneakily, casually, and hand it to the doctor. But then,
Yeah.
from memory, that is going into this spoiler section. That is the doctor that hands her that letter. That is also lying and is also fraudulent and is also not a nice person.
No. It's
So
such a random movie. Like I don't like. What story is Hitchcock trying to tell? Because in the end, like you're in spoilers. Like in the end, it's like this. So the real doctor who ended up being murdered, like pissed off this other doctor, and the doctor because he was about to be replaced, and so the doctor just murdered him on like a ski trip or something like that.
yes, well, he tried to, I think, approach him first and abuse him, basically, verbally, and then that didn't work. So he then murdered the man on a ski
Yeah.
slope and then blamed it on this other gentleman who's going through his own emotional turmoil because of what has happened in his
With
past.
his brother.
And I would like to say the reveal of, because it's revealed that the how do I even refer to this character? John Ballantyne is his name, his real name, who's
John
posing
Ballantyne.
as Doc. What a great
That's
name!
right. When it went on the train, he's like, "My name is John." Like, ugh.
But he's posing as Dr. Anthony Edwards.
That's right.
But when it's revealed John
Such
Ballantyne's
a
actual
1940s name. Dr. Anthony Edwards. It sounds like a
Edwards.
Cluedo set. These all sound like Cluedo characters.
They do, and at one point I thought it felt like a bit of a Cluedo game. But
This is Cluedo the movie. If you ever wanted that, this is it.
but the source of John Ballantyne's real trauma is that he, due to no fault of his own, it was a total accident. He accidentally killed his brother.
Yeah.
And that was...
What, sliding down a staircase or whatever it was? Like,
on the rail of a staircase and on pushing his infant brother onto a spiked fence.
By the way, can you kill someone doing that?
As an infant, I'd say like a young toddler, who it looks like in that clip, it is, you probably could with enough force and momentum, which he has. So,
It's
but
just a random way of an infant dying. You know what I mean?
It is, but Nathan, it's brilliant. It's so good.
But the art of it, Nathan.
That reveal was brutal.
It was very brutal
and shocking, and I loved it. Like,
I do think it was overacted though. Like the acting in this film is very good, except for like the traumatic reveals, because like Gregory Peck is like just
from Gregory Peck,
he's just like, oh no, and he's like throwing his arms everywhere. He's like, no, and he's like doing like stage acting, like he's got huge facial expressions. And he's like, no, like I simply can't, no, and she's like, you must, and he's like, I can't, and it's like, you must. It's like, oh, just shut up. I was like, just get to it already. Just like, and then whenever you oh my god, okay, whenever he sees those fucking lines, like those lines, like whether it's in the snow or on like a dress, like I'm like, dude, you need to calm your shit.
His crazy eyes and the music just blaring in your ear.
Very Hitchcock, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it's great. The first time it happened though, I did remember feeling a bit like, whoa, that's a bit much, isn't it?
Settle down there, son. Put that dress back in the closet. Like,
but it's great at building tension. And speaking of tension, another scene that for me was probably the most tense from immediate memory from watching this film was actually that segment, let's say, with the switchblade, the straight razor. So he's in the older doctor's let's call him Michael Chekhov's house. And,
the famous actor, not playwright Chekhov. He's in this film.
He plays Dr. Alexander Brulov.
You got an Oscar for it, right?
I think he got a nod. I think he got a supporting actor nod.
Yeah.
He's very good, isn't he?
He is very good. Yeah, he is actually quite
good. He's very
like
good.
Yeah. I think he's like the straight man of the film. Like, he's the only one who's like not wrapped up in this story.
And somehow he builds a nice arc through it too.
He does actually. Yeah, he
does.
comes around. Because there's that super tense scene where like, where, you know, this patient like walks down and what's his name? John
Ballantyne.
Yeah. He like walks down the stairs with the razor and he's like off his meds and he's like about to like, he's about to like kill someone, and the doctor's just like having chats. He's like, oi, hey, old mate, and like, because he pretends to be the husband of like the
that's
female
right,
chick.
yes,
and the female chick, the doctor, and then they're like having chats, and then like the dude just falls asleep. And I remember when like he fell asleep, I'm like, well, that's pretty lucky. And then twist, like the doctor comes downstairs and he's like, oh, you know, I like put him to sleep. And she's
that's
like,
right.
Oh, thank God.
because he saw through the lie straight away. But that scene was executed brilliantly. The way that it uses the POV shot of John Ballantyne drinking the milk, and then it uses the image of the white of the milk to then go to a fully white screen before going back to the doctor, Constance Peterson, going downstairs we think to find a dead body at this point, and to reveal that the Dr. Brulov had been in control of the situation the whole time and had put the Ballantyne to sleep. But the way I just said that was so intricate and complicated. But it was such it was one of the many great reveals of this movie.
There's a lot of great reveals in this movie. Like, yeah, it's really, really good. Like, I love like the way like he finally realizes that it was like, you know, the skiing accident, that kind of stuff. And he's like, it was snow. Like, it's just like you get trinkle and trinkle. You don't see where any of this is going. And like when they're checking in at the train station, and he's like standing at the counter, and he's like, and she's like, where are we going? And he's like, fuck, I got to give an answer. And you can see him like going, ugh, and he's like, we're going to, and then like wherever he says, like, where is it, Mississippi or something like that, like. He's like
Georgia. I can't quite remember, but
he's like, let's go. And then she's like, okay, and like no one bats an eye. Like they're like, oh, this is a weird fucker, and they're just like, have fun on your train.
Yeah, and the way that they then get on the train, and I think it's the ticket collector looks directly to the camera.
Yeah. That's such a weird scene. They're all making out like before they get on the train. What's up with that?
I'm not sure. And then they try to blend in, and then they don't.
I guess we gotta make out. Like,
and then they go through, and the ticket collector looks directly at the camera.
Yeah,
and then it cuts
like
to
waggling
the train.
his eyebrows, almost like, what do you think, audience?
But that's right. And then that's how the film ends too. in that same
yeah,
situation.
that's right, yeah.
So I'm
Back
not.
in the train
I'm not.
station.
I haven't thought enough about that moment to really kind of garner what I took from that yet. But interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting connection, I guess. The ending of this film is also just bonkers. But first of all, let's talk about some great special effects.
Oh my god,
The
that's
skiing
scene. That's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. I've seen I love the old Bond films where like they're driving and like it's a chase scene and bless them because you can tell it's just like a moving screen in the background that they're just sitting in a car in front of. But I know what it is with this film that I'm very particular about that I'm getting rubbed the wrong way.
It was part of like the experience of this film was that whole ski section. Like it looked absolutely horrible and ridiculous,
it really did.
but it was somehow endearing and fun. Like,
I know it's like when a 5-year-old like does an artwork and they present it to you and they're like, look what I did at school today, and you're like, oh you, and you just like rush scruff their hair and you're just like,
can we imagine an adult Hitchcock, but like the Benjamin Button effect? So it's like it's Alfred Hitchcock, but he's a 5-year-old.
like he's still balding, he's still
like,
fat.
look what I did, guys! I made this ski scene.
Mr. Young Alfred, what did you do today at school?
Oh, I made a ski scene.
Have you been hanging around with your friend Michael Cocaine?
Oh no.
And what did you sketch, Alfred? What's your favorite winter sport, Alfred?
Snowboarding? No, it's ridiculous. Like, and like, you can totally tell, like, there's probably some small little fan in the corner of this studio as they're shooting this, and it's blowing their hair back slightly,
God, I know.
but nowhere near enough for them to be skiing at this, like, such a fast pace down this mountain, and oh man, and there's so much tension in it as well because it's really one of the climaxes of the film.
I know. And I'm just waiting for him to get his memory back because like I don't know about you, but I got so sick of his amnesia like by the end of it. I'm just like, just shut the mouth. Like half his film was like, I don't know, maybe. Remember that when he's like, I probably had a wife. And she makes a face that's almost like a meme. Like, he's just like, did you? And he's like, I don't think I did. And she's just like, oh, fuck you. Like, you can almost see her break, like, character just be like, oh, why am I here? It's just, the whole time he's just moping the whole film. He's still good. I still like him, but like, all he does is just mope and mope. I'm like, why are you in love with this? Like, I'm sure he's an attractive bloke, but like, it's just not worth the trouble. Like, you're a doctor. You can have literally anyone you want, and you're going for this motherfucker. It's like, come on. It's like, Ingrid Burt, whatever your name is, like, go for, like, the good dudes. Although, in her defense...
Peterson, yes.
In her defense, all of the doctors that she works with are, like, terrible.
Oh.
Like, they're terrible people. Like, when they all sit around at the lunch, like you don't know things. You're a woman.
They're
like,
quite egotistical in the sense of, like, who they are. Yeah, it's... They could be really great individuals and offer a lot to society, but they're stuck in their own bullshit, if that makes sense.
It's
yeah.
Like, oh. And like, you can see she hates them as well. Like, she's just like,
yes.
She's sitting around having dinner with them. She's just like, ugh. And they're just like...
She's such an optimist, though, in the sense that she tries to learn and garner, I think, from every, I guess, conversation or interaction she has with her patients and her peers. But yeah, I think once she's introduced to someone that's actually... Even though he's a psychological mess,
genuinely.
She's thankful, I guess, for that connection.
Yeah. Also, like with the skis, I just want to go back to that very quickly.
Yeah, of course.
I also like how old. I know these are like 1945 skis, but you've skied before, right?
I've never seen snow before, Nathan.
Whoa!
Yeah,
really?
I'm a sad young man that's never seen.
You're very Australian, aren't you? It's like, I've just been in the desert for 22 years.
What is snow? Is that like precipitation?
Is that what happens when the kangaroos just cry? Do they cry snow tears?
Is that when you hop in a kangaroo's pouch and you ride down a mountain?
I love going overseas and you just ask people, like, and you meet people who've just never been to Australia. They're like, do you ride the sharks to school? Like,
that literally, that's a first. Like, I got asked that constantly when I was in the United States. Oh, so do you actually hop in a kangaroo's pouch and do they just like hop to school for you?
Yeah.
It's like
we got to remember to ask these.
Why am I asking that in Australian accent?
I just remember that. Yeah. It's
okay, let's go
take
again.
Take 2. They're just like
action.
Like,
hi there.
I'll be the show and you be the American. Okay?
Hi there, young man. So when you go to school, Does the kangaroo allow you to jump in its pouch and then you hop to school?
No, normally we sedate it, then we just hop in ourselves. You know,
Oh.
that's the thing. You bullshit when you're overseas and you make this shit up, and they buy it.
Yeah, I just said
When
yes.
I say they, I mean Americans.
I just said, when I was asked that question, I said, yeah, we do. And they were like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Like, oh my God, do you guys have like pet koalas? And they're like, yeah, you know, they sleep most of the time, so they're pretty easy to handle. Like, they're like, how do you guys eat Vegemite? And then we say, well, you know, normally on toast. Like, they don't get it. But that's the thing. Like, they'll be like, oh, how do you live with all this? Oh, sorry, American. I keep doing the wrong accent.
How do you live with all those creatures trying to kill you on a daily basis?
Yeah, how do you do it, son? Do you carry it? And you got no guns in Australia. How you doing it? And we're just like,
We squish them. yeah.
we eat them in our sleep.
You'd be surprised, like, when I think back to my childhood, there was that many redback spiders in my house.
Yeah.
But you never really batted an eyelid. You didn't think about it much, that this thing, if it bit me, it could kill me. Like,
Not really. Like anything, like, you'll die eventually. It's like, you know, spider bites. There's worse ways to go.
perhaps that's it. Perhaps Australians have a better handle on existentialism. And we're just accepted that
You're not
something's going to kill us eventually.
Like,
Whether it's a giant crocodile.
Yeah, it's
You
like
know?
it's like spiders. You just get bitten, you just drop dead. Like crocky, you have to get eaten. You have to get dragged under the water. It's like a whole thing. Like for a spider, it's fine. The snake, you just get bit in the neck.
Get a nip by a Western taipan. You're gone. Yeah.
Snape did it. Why can't we? It's like it's easy to be killed by a snake. It's like it's fine. Like I remember, like I have a morbid fear of spiders. Like I can do daddy long legs, but everything else can just like die in a desert.
See, I don't usually kill spiders because
Really?
I appreciate. It depends on the
You're a
spider.
guy who just doesn't step on ants.
I won't kill. No, I kill ants all the time.
You're the kid from like. Ant
But
Bully.
I don't kill like huntsman spiders and whatnot because I'm like, thank you, huntsman, for being in my house because it will kill the cockroaches, which I hate even more.
See, I'm not bothered by.
I think I got a
cockroaches.
guilt complex now. Speaking of guilt
You should
complexes,
see the doctor.
no, but guilt complexes, I think, were one of the main themes, I think, in this film.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a good segue, Brenton. You did a really good job with
Hey.
that. Hey. You're on a segue. Don't be like the founder. Just roll off a cliff. It's a true story.
Oh,
Ooh.
oh no. Oh no.
One thing a big thing we haven't talked about yet in this film is the contributions of Salvador Dali in this film. You know what I'm referring to?
No.
Okay. You don't know this. Okay, so you know that really trippy nightmare sequence
Yes.
that he has?
Yes.
That was done by Dali, the artist. Salvador Dali
Are you
teamed up with Alfred Hitchcock to film this entire sequence where he has a nightmare. Because it's like the melting clock and everything. That's Dali.
Because this is an audio medium, our listeners can't see my face at the moment. My mouth is open in a state of complete shock and awe because that segment was awesome, dude.
Wasn't that? I remember when it first, because it comes out of nowhere as well, and I'm like, "What's this?"
Well, you've
thing?
had a film
Yeah.
that's like on these great sets and like this very, let's say great. By great, I mean very realistic. It's very grounded.
Yeah, it's
It's
1945,
even though it's bonkers, like the
Yeah.
psychology and the stuff that's happening is like completely bonkers. But that moment is like so out of left field, and it's quite a far ways into the movie.
It is. It really
Yeah.
is. And like it's an amazing scene, and like he's like falling, and the dream happens a couple of times. So I read some behind the scenes stuff, and apparently like that sequence was meant to go for 20 minutes.
Holy crap! I wish it did.
Oh, same.
my god!
So Dali and Hitchcock, like, what a pairing! Salvador Dali and Alfred Hitchcock paired up. They made this thing, and like
the man with no face, like
yeah,
like the imagery is just
it's
brilliant.
crazy.
Yes.
It's like that's like where like art students would like have shrooms and just like watch it and just be like, this is the best thing in life. Like, but like it's amazing. And apparently like that footage. So what happened is that they filmed it and Dali loved it, Hitchcock loved it, and then the studio executive said this is not commercially viable. They cut it down to like 2 minutes or whatever it was, and the other 18 is lost footage.
Oh
I know.
no!
I know. It's just like
Why?
I know, which would literally be worth millions, like tens of millions, if they found that footage. But like,
Oh
apparently
my
it's just
gosh,
gone.
that segment is kind of, it's good on its own.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant in the context of this
Now that
plot
you
and
know,
this
but
film.
when I watched it, I was like, this looks like the artwork of Dali, because everything's like melting, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
as soon as you said it,
like-
I was like, "What are you talking
like,
about,
this
Nathan?"
is very Dali. And then I looked it up afterwards. I'm like, this is Salvador Dali. And I'm like, oh shit, that's awesome. That's really cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And the way that segues in the reveal is, for some context, the reveal of that segment is that it reveals that is John Ballantyne's, let's say, mental expression of the situation of the real Dr. Edwards' death and who was the real, what's the word? Who was the real culprit?
Culprit, yeah.
Yes. Who was the head of the facility, the original head of the facility.
Yeah.
And also,
circle.
that reveal was pretty...
Yeah.
Because that is the real climax of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was a moment where I'm like, you idiot. Because she just walks in and confronts him on her own. And she's just like, you're the one. It's like an episode of Scooby-Doo. It's like, and the real culprit was, and then she rips the mask off. And so I walked into that scene thinking you're an idiot. And then she talks to him. And then she's so intelligent, she manages to halt him and walk out alive.
I would also say that that's justified as well by the point I was making before. I think that Dr. Clarence is so, she's so in tune, I think, with, let's say, human beings and people that she senses in him that he is not capable of pulling that trigger on her.
No, he's not. He's really not.
On her.
Yeah.
Whether or not she senses that he then turns that gun on himself.
She's psychic in this film. She's got good senses.
I don't know if she's psychic, but I think she's got good let's say good instincts.
She has a That's So Raven moment. She's like, I'm having a vision.
What's the quote from That's So Raven?
Oh, snap.
But what?
You nasty.
You nasty. That's the one. You nasty. Imagine if so that scene is shot from the perspective of a POV of him looking down the barrel of the gun, following her out of the room, and just before she closes the door, she turns around and goes, "You nasty." That would have made it a masterpiece.
Oh, that would have been 100% Rotten Tomatoes. That would have, you imagine he's skiing down the slopes and the guy gets shot and she's like, oh snap,
oh snap, and she Raven pulls that face to where she's like, it's the. It's
Mama's trying to sleep.
It's like that disgusted face that's I can't even describe it.
You little nasty.
You nasty. And then she just pulls that face. It's hilarious. I used to love that show when I was younger.
It's so
I haven't
good.
watched it recently. Does it?
Oh, I have.
Does it hold up?
It holds up so well. Yes. It's one of the very few Disney shows that's genuinely excellent. That is probably the best thing Disney children have ever made. It's in Disney programming for children. That's the best thing they've ever done.
I used to have a crush when I was little on her best friend.
Oh, Chelsea.
Yeah. I remember I used to think she was really pretty, and I was always she'd come on screen and I'd turn bright red. I was like
her hair.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
She's great. And I love that her and Eddie, the guy best friend, they never got it on. It was always just platonic and I love every episode they dress in different costumes and just to pretend to be someone else.
Maybe the reason they didn't was that they were concerned that Raven would then turn around and say, "Oh, you nasties."
Everyone's nasty. I love that show so much. And I love Chelsea as well. One of the best episodes they have done was when Chelsea pretends to be Sharon Osbourne, and so
yes,
oh my gosh, do you remember it? It's because Raven's father's a chef and he's about to get fired from this restaurant, and she's like, "You fired Victor." She pretends to be this pop star, and then Chelsea pretends to be Sharon Osbourne. She's like, "Do you not know who this is?" It's do you carry a lunchbox?
It's so good. It's such a shame though, because I think to Hannah Montana, and because that was kind of the next generation, let's say, it just doesn't hold a candle
I remember
to That's So Raven.
You know what I love about those shows though? They pioneered the crossover. You think Marvel did it? No, it was them. Because do you remember this?
Yeah, Sweet Life.
It was Sweet Life. It was That's So Raven, and it was Hannah Montana, and the three of them had this 3-show crossover, this where they all appeared in the same episode.
Well, they tried to keep that kind of, let's say, storyline going with Corey in the house, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And again, that didn't quite.
No, That's So Raven. It's a good show. Even if you've never seen it, if you're a parent and you listen to us, firstly, why are you listening to us? But two, sit down with them and watch this show with them, because That's So Raven is a great show for both adults and for children. It's an intelligent comedy.
Really. That's interesting because I haven't seen it in a while.
No,
and
I literally
it's really cool that it holds up.
It holds up because they made a sequel to it, called Raven's Home. So
really?
Yeah,
oh my god, really?
That does not hold up.
Oh,
so that's because it's new Disney.
Hey,
so
that
show was made last year, and it's now written in the style of Disney shows today, which isn't quite good.
Nathan,
but
Is it nasty?
Oh, it's so nasty, Corey. It's so bad, like,
Oh.
because it's about Chelsea and Raven living together as single moms. Both
Wait,
divorced.
both the actors
Yeah,
still
same
in it?
actors.
Yeah.
And they got kids who are friends, and Raven's daughter is psychic. Like, it's a
Wow.
whole thing. Like,
Well, last time I saw Raven was on The View. So
oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
She was on The View for a while, and then she left.
I mean, I don't watch The View, obviously.
No.
So yeah, I can't.
No.
Not obviously, as in like The View's terrible, and obviously I don't watch it. But obviously, I don't watch The View because Raven's not on the show anymore, and I
No.
don't know that. Yeah.
So it's one of those shows that's like always on, like when you go to see a doctor, like
Yeah.
when you're waiting in the
It's
patient
that-
room. It's
it's
like
that-
always The View. I
It's
don't know
that
why.
and Dr. Phil.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's a reason they have that playing in patient rooms. I think it must be a box set because you're ill and you go to
Yeah.
see a doctor, right? And you're sitting in that chair, but then when you see Dr. Phil and the fucked up people that go on that show, you're like, actually, I'm not that sick. You're
It's-
like, I'm okay.
It's
I'm
those.
okay.
It's those two and Judge Judy. That's the other one. I find
love
is
Judge
playing.
Judy.
I love Judge Judy as well.
She as a woman, I saw a Cambridge interview that she did. She did this like 1 hour keynote at Cambridge University. She is a remarkably intelligent woman.
She is.
Like
she is.
She like
yes.
because you watch her do this show, and she is remarkable in the show because she she delivers justice, and she's pretty like straight arrow.
But again, in the context of, and style and format of that show, she doesn't get the opportunity to really show her, let's say like really flex her muscles in the sense that like she's dealing with a lot of like silly people on that show.
Oh yeah, they're all
you know,
idiots. Like she's very easy prey.
Exactly.
Like,
it's quite easy to sort those situations and
but she did do like family court as a proper like barrister or
Yeah,
whatever she
of
was like,
course.
for like 20 years or something like that. So like, and she did a lot of good in New York, and like she says it straight, and I know I really admire her about it. And she's something like 80 now, but she's still going so strong. Like she is wicked sharp. Like I like as for daytime TV, like she deserves all the Emmys that she's gotten because like yeah, it's excellent.
So what were the three shows? It was Judge Judy, Dr. Phil, and the third one was The View, that are always on in hospital rooms.
Always on a hospital room.
Yeah. God, I wonder if John Ballantyne would ever have been on Dr. Phil if he was around back then.
You know what? I would have loved to see him on Jerry Springer. I reckon that would have been the best show for him.
Ah, yes.
Like he rocks up with amnesia, like the wife of the dude who was murdered, like rocks up. He's like, "You kill." It's like he'll be like, "You killed my husband. You killed him real good." And he's like, I don't know who I am. I'm actor Gregory Peck.
Oh, the snow.
The lines, they all mean something. He does like a Shia LaBeouf in Transformers 2. He just starts writing weird symbols on the walls.
Oh my god!
Like,
This like the seizures that's happening in Shia LaBeouf's face.
That's like
during
him.
that
It's
moment.
like Gregory Peck. He goes from like classically trained actor to like Shia LaBeouf. Like he's just, I would pay to see that sequel. It's just him. Like the PTSD just comes back and he just like starts freaking out.
Oh god, Marvel crossovers. Let's get a Transformers and Spellbound crossover. Let's go.
It works completely. Like,
oh gosh, what a conversation
what
that
a-
was!
what a journey we've been on.
tangent that was.
Are there any more spoilery things that you wanted to share?
Yeah, there was. Oh no, I did mention I've mentioned it all. I mentioned that there was the guy that then looked to the camera at the end. Dr. Brulov got his arc, and kind of Dr. Clarence proves us all right with her great instincts. So yeah, I guess in terms of spoilers, that dream sequence is absolutely fantastic and is worth the price of admission alone. So why don't we talk about this movie's theatrical poster?
Hey, let's look at this film's poster.
Let's look at it.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
This is okay. You know what? I have mixed feelings about this poster because it looks as though he's like surprising her. So, like, play along, listeners. If you look up the Spellbound poster on Google,
Is this the theatrical poster?
yes, this is the proper one.
Yeah, okay.
So it sells itself as like this romantic film, but
What?
it looks as though like she's like staring intensely at like an overcooked dinner that like she's burnt or something like that, and he like creeps up behind her, whispering into her ear like sweet nothings, like, "Oh, I'll make the dinner the way you like it."
I think it's more, he's not whispering to her. I think he's taken this opportunity while she's looking at the complete mess the dinner is, and he's just slowly sniffing inside of her ear because he likes the smell. He's like, "Oh, that's good.
You
Yeah."
smell like the burnt dinner. He looks like he's about to lick her.
He's about to lick the ear. I think he's taking that
Her
opportunity.
face looks like she knows he's
Does
about
she
to lick
have
him.
Is that the folds of her neck, or does she have a choker on?
Oh my god! I don't
Or is it a
even know.
necklace? What
I think
is
it's just
that
the shading because this would
line?
be like hand drawn or colored or something
Oh,
like that.
but no one has a line like that around their neck unless, like, what is that? Is it a necklace? Do you think? Is it a choker?
I don't know.
Is he about to strangle her? I don't know. It's strange.
Also,
Also,
is this supposed to be her, like in this picture below? Like, because it looks like he's holding like a doll or like
I think
a young
so.
girl.
I think so because I think he's in the picture above as well. That's his head,
Mm.
and she's kind of, I guess, rubbing her nose on his forehead.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's also weird,
dear.
like the slogan, like complete, reckless, violent.
Exclamation! It's like, this is love! Exclamation mark! Complete ellipsis necklace. Reckless? Sorry.
Reckless.
Ellipsis and violent exclamation mark. It's like, and they leave it at that. So it's intriguing, but it's also like, what? It's intriguing, but in the way of like, what is this movie about? Is this a domestic abuse affair?
Ooh.
Is this like
The amount
what?
of films we've been watching, Brenton, with a potential rape scene, I'm not a fan.
Oh
Like,
god!
yeah.
There was
There's one in this film.
there wasn't
there
one.
was-
There was many.
There was many in this film.
Yeah.
I promise you, this is not a theme we're deliberately choosing, but like,
To be fair,
yeah.
unlike past films, I never once questioned the virility of the scene. I never once thought, oh, it could go there.
Yeah.
I never once thought that.
Yeah.
There was one scene that I thought, oh god, it could go there when he might have murdered Dr. Prologue.
Yeah, well, you think he could be the murderer.
Yeah, but there was no I understand what you're saying in terms of like, oh no, like this rape moment, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of
just-
trusted in what was happening. That
Just
it was
after Rocky and just after
yeah.
Animal House and
Yeah.
I just no.
What is the image on the bottom right hand side of this poster?
Is
I
that like-
can't.
I
Are they
don't
in the
know.
snow?
Is that like
Is
could be him
she
in the
pointing to what is she? What is
Yeah.
she's pointing to the screenplay
I don't know.
by Ben?
It looks like she's pointing at the
Hecht?
title Spellbound. Like,
What's the point? I'm not. Like this is the first time I think that I'm not the biggest fan of this poster.
same.
It
I want
doesn't-
the poster to be just a still of them skiing.
Oh, I want the poster, I think, to be... I think maybe... Okay, this is my idea for the poster.
Go.
I think
I'm listening.
she is staring ahead intently with a kind of worried expression that could also be maybe mistaken for a bit of bemused, but we're not sure because nothing's revealed. And then
Is it?
there is a mirror behind her, and the mirror reveals that she is looking at an opening. The door's open, and there's a light in the doorway, and because of that, the figure that is standing there, who's obviously male, but he's just shadow.
Ooh. You should be
Spellbound.
the movie.
And then if you really wanted to
In
go there,
3D.
if you really wanted to go there, because there's a motif, I guess, that continues through this, that there's a tree with leaves falling at the start in the opening credits. There's
that's right.
leaves in her hair when
It's
she
also
comes.
like the Shakespeare quote.
Yeah.
Like, the Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah.
And like, thanks, John Green.
She has leaves in her hair when she comes back from the picnic and they're picked out. There's lots of leaves falling in this film, so you could have like a tree with leaves falling, and maybe she's standing looking, questioning,
She's
the
like, "Oh, I have to
situation
do all-
beneath the tree.
Yeah, there's a lot of raking I have to do now. Like, just holding like a little rake.
Yeah,
Just like,
but the
oh.
doorway, shadowy figure, mirror behind her. That's my idea. That's my pitch.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I think this is a perfect moment then to segue into title talk, because
Ooh.
we've just talked about
The tittle talk.
the tittle talk. Does this talk tittle?
Or does the tittle talk?
Ooh.
Let's find out.
That's definitely the weirdest intro we've done so far.
Oh, God. But,
These are getting progressively
why,
worse, and I love
why
it.
not? Why not? We're
Okay.
up to episode 5. We
We can afford it.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to lead this or me?
No, you lead it. You go.
Not a fan. Not a fan of Spellbound.
Spellbound.
Because like the moment they become spellbound, I'm using the biggest air quotes, is like when they fall in love. That's when they become spellbound, and like she's spellbound. Like he's not. He's just got amnesia, so I don't know about his love. Like because he's like I could have a wife. Like
I mean, maybe it's in reference to the fact that he's spellbound in the sense that he's totally mentally fucked. But again, he's just got amnesia and he's got a major guilt complex. Guilt complex should be somewhere in the title,
yeah,
or like something that's
Guilt-bound?
alluding to that. Guilt bound. mentally fucked the movie.
Maybe like I think that Spellbound, like I don't know. It also pitches itself as this like great romantic film. It's like it's got the plot is romantic, but like I care about this couple, but like it could go either way. To be honest with you, like
skiing down a guilt complex. I don't know.
How to Kill Infants, the movie.
Oh my god. Oh,
they really should have called it like Freud's Happy Hour or something like that.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Really, because the psychoanalysis is not advertised in this film at all, and I feel like they should have been.
I feel like maybe it's the thing you were talking to before in reference to the dream sequence, that maybe they thought that the movie wouldn't be commercially viable if they sold it that it was about a bunch of doctors that were psychoanalysts analyzing this
That's true.
guy with amnesia. Because maybe at the time, because World War II's ending or whatever, people want to be happy, so they want to watch a movie about two spellbound lovers.
Exactly.
Like you don't know the marketing or whatever that's going on.
No, I'm very curious as to how like audiences would have reacted to this film at the time. Like we can know now how audiences reacted because of a segment that we could get into. This is the best segue I think we've ever done into this. We
haven't mastered it.
We're getting there.
But we're progressing at a leisurely pace.
We are. Ooh.
We are.
Like them going down the mountain, just a leisurely ski.
That's not leisurely.
No.
That's fucking fast. But segue us away, Nathan.
So, Brenton, critics.
Yes.
What are they saying?
I don't know.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Okay, so the way it works is that with all the critics and stuff, we don't trust Rotten Tomatoes because, Rotten Tomatoes, it's just a fruit. Right, so... Let's see. Okay, so Spellbound got... Oh, okay, this is interesting. So Spellbound got 83% on Rotten Tomatoes.
83?
83%.
Okay.
This is interesting.
That's not bad.
That's from the critics. Audiences gave it 82%. And the way we do it, obviously, we get 3 positive, 3 negative from the critics, get from the audience 3 positive, 3 negative. So it's pretty balanced. I should get an even spread.
Before we get into that, can I just ask you, where do you think it should be in terms of percentage on the Rotten Tomatoes?
I don't care. Like,
yeah.
I hate
do you think
giving numerical values to films.
Do you think 80's fair though? Because in my head, I'm thinking maybe 80's okay, but my heart's saying, could it be higher?
Heart.
Maybe.
Do you feel spellbound for this?
Oh, I've just got amnesia, Nathan. It's okay.
But of course.
And a major guilt complex.
You're actually the real Nathan. I'm actually Gregory Peck. Help me, Brenton.
What are the critics saying, Nathan? What are they saying?
So, positive. So, from the Emporium magazine, Rob Vo says...
The what magazine, sorry?
Flipside Movie Emporium. That's the full name of this magazine.
Oh, God. Okay, go.
He said, second tier Hitchcock, notable mainly for Salvador Dali's hallucinogenic landscapes. Yeah. Pretty much, but see, I don't
know if I call it second rate, but
no, this is definitely up there for Hitchcock. Also, I wouldn't tell people about Dali in this film.
No,
I want to be a surprise because when it happens, it's like out of nowhere.
That was a great shock when you told me that who had worked on that segment. Like again, the mouth was open.
Yeah, your jaw was on the floor. Had to pick it up and reattach it. It was like a whole thing.
Oh,
You had to see a
God.
doctor. Ugh.
Yeah,
All right.
You don't know again because this is a audio medium, but they were in here. They were working away on my jaw.
Medium?
Oh, what? What? Can't you see me right now? Can't you see what I'm doing?
Good gracious, boy, see a doctor. So Ted Pregay from Rec Arts Movies Reviews, positive review. He said, the best suspense film dealing with psychoanalysis that I can remember. Yep, it's definitely now that market. I don't think there's a
I don't know if it's the best. Shutter Island's up there for me.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Shutter Island.
I really like Shutter Island, yeah.
I'd probably watch Shutter Island over this. Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
Personally, but I'm a big Scorsese guy.
Oh, same,
I'm
mate.
such a big Scorsese guy.
Raging Bull, best film ever. Christopher Null from filmcritic.com. That's a proper website, bro. He gave positive review. He said, Spellbound lands as one of Hitchcock's classics, but it's far from his best work. See, what are these critics saying? Like, what are they saying?
What are they saying, Nathan? Look, I don't know if it's fair to say that it's far from his best work.
Yeah.
I don't know. I understand in the sense that it's not as well known.
Yeah.
So
But
maybe,
that's what makes it better, if anything, because Vertigo, you have such high expectations for like the dolly shot and like.
but is the reasoning that it's not as well known is because it's not as good, and maybe we have a differing opinion to. But again,
I have a different opinion. No, I think like compared to his other films, like I like this more than Psycho, and Psycho's like always held as like one of the best and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I guess it's just personal taste, and also I think all of his films. He's one of those directors that all of his films are pretty. His filmography is all. It's all
a pretty good streak.
Yeah, it's all kind of at the same level, I'd say.
Yeah,
like
I still think the best Hitchcock film I've ever seen is Rear Window.
Rear Window, you reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we will do an episode on North by Northwest because that's one of the major ones we both haven't seen.
I think, yeah, I'd like to. We should do a. Look, the dream is that we'll do an episode on all of his films at some point. Yeah,
I'll watch them all again easily. Like,
yeah,
they're all great, but
for
like,
sure.
I think I've seen a bad Hitchcock film yet.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know if this is far from his best, and
I think it's up there.
And I don't even know. For me, I'm not even sure what I think his best is, because
exactly.
the films I've seen of his, I've really enjoyed. Again, he's one of those directors. I can't. At the moment I can't really rank. I'd have to sit down and really think about it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
yeah, maybe this person has really thought it through. So obviously, kudos to this reviewer. But yeah, I'm not sure.
Some negative critics.
Oh no,
Nick Shagger from Lessons of Darkness. Just straight up, his magazine's called Lessons of Darkness. Like, mate, what are you doing?
Nathan, his name is Nick Shagger.
we're so mean.
God.
Okay. He wrote one of the director's most laughably dated films.
Oh.
It's not that dated. The skiing's dated. I don't think the film is that dated.
The skiing is definitely dated.
It's very dated.
but in a
no, I like it. It's an endearing way. I like it. Yeah.
Maybe the psychoanalysis stuff in the film is dated in the sense that, like I was saying before, I'm not sure all of our brains work in this way.
No, exactly. Like, yeah, exactly. Also, this was made in like 1945 when psychoanalysis was very new.
We were fucking lobotomizing people. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's so fucked up. I don't know how, like, when you hear like things they used to do back in like medieval medicine, just like, remember when someone had it was like cardiac arrest or something like that, or like it was before they knew CPR or something. Yeah, it was before they knew CPR, and they used to throw people over barrels. Are you aware of this? So like when people would like drown or some shit like that, rather than give CPR, they would literally get a barrel and put it on like its rolly side, and like just fling a person's body on their back over a barrel, and that's how you would get cured. And by the way, this like shit never worked, but they still did it for like centuries.
Nathan, I do that all the time.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Brenton.
Look, that's my medical practice. What are you talking about?
I know you went to medical school for 9 years and, you've got a PhD and all that kind of stuff, but I'm telling you, it just doesn't work.
Look, lobotomy is... The more I think about lobotomy, I get angry and I feel really kind of ill when I think about the process of what... not even just like the outcome of it, because the outcome is sickening enough, but just the process of what they would do to people is just...
It's just terrible. Do you watch BoJack Horseman?
Oh, I've watched half of the first episode. It's one of those shows that's on my to-watch list. I really want to watch it, but...
Mild spoiler, there's a point where lobotomy comes up in the TV show. I won't give you any more context for that, but there is a part where it's raised, and the show does a really good takedown of it. So I'd watching it for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it does a...
I watched the first half of BoJack Horseman, and I actually got distracted by Rick and Morty.
Oh, really?
I watched all the episodes of Rick and Morty.
Because they're the main two.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so BoJack Horseman's on my kind of adult cartoon to watch list.
Yeah.
I have many lists.
Ooh. On your adult cartoon list.
Yeah, I know. I said adult cartoon list, and I was like, oh god, that sounds a bit...
Right next to the hentai, it's
all right.
But James Kendrick from Network Film Disc, he said, an incessantly talky film with every significant action being explained in long-winded speeches about guilt and repression.
I completely disagree.
There's some long-winded speeches in here. But it's not incessantly talky. Like.
But I'd say it doesn't explain everything. I think one of the best things about this film is in terms of its visual, let's say... Yeah, like it's visual storytelling.
Oh, one thing I did like is that the very end of the film where it like montages through like a year worth of like action. As soon as he gets arrested and there's like a weird montage of like
the court case and the yeah.
It just fast tracks through all this plot like really quickly through this montage.
And she's crying and yeah.
It's like it's like Hitchcock realized, oh shit, like I've only got 10 pages left to write this film, and so he just like fast tracked through like all that process.
Just think, he fast tracked through all of that, and yet there was meant to be 20 minutes more of a dream
I
segment.
know. It's like, what are you doing, Hitchcock? It's like, what are you doing?
No, yeah, yeah, I'd agree. Like, yeah, that was pretty sudden, and
Yeah.
it probably does maybe a point of pacing that it didn't quite nail it. Let's say, yeah,
Exactly.
but again, it doesn't stick out in my mind, so I don't know.
What are you doing? All right, and last of the critics, Dennis Schwartz from Oz's World Movie Reviews. Where do these critics come from? He wrote, a syrupy serving of Freudian analysis that looks tempting, but tastes of too much superego, id, and subconscious drive to be taken seriously.
Look, you know what? I think he might actually have a point.
Mm.
Like, yeah, sure, you could take that away from it. But
Yeah.
you could also enjoy it for what, like, you could also, I hate that term of phrase, enjoy it for what it is, because, what does that even mean? But,
What does it even mean, man?
yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, I think he's got a point, but I did enjoy this film, so everything you're saying is kind of, it's a fair analysis, but I liked it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, so audiences now, what are they saying?
Oh.
William M gave it 4 stars. He said, a great twist. Suspenseful still, even after 70 years.
I have a question for William. Which twist is he referring to?
Doesn't say. He just literally just wrote that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great twists. But what's your favorite twist? I think for mine, it was like when you realize he's not a patient. I mean,
For
not
me-
a doctor, pardon me.
For me, that was a good one.
Yeah.
But for me, it was actually the final twist of the fact that the head of the facility was really the murderer. Because I honestly thought the film was going in a direction during that montage, actually, that we were then going to go into a segment where she then had a guilt complex because her instincts were wrong in this scenario, and it was going to mess her up mentally, and the film was going to have a sad ending and leave it there, which I was kind of down for. But then it was even more interesting because another twist happened, and that twist really got me sideways of that he was behind the whole thing. Yeah, so I'd say that one because I wasn't expecting it at all.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. You should be writing these reviews, Brenton. Like, we should just hold the podcast and just like be typing them up on Rotten Tomatoes ourselves. I feel like they kind of defeat the purpose. Bass9 gave it 5 stars and wrote, "Love and science are a perfect match."
What has that got to do with the movie?
Love and science? I've seen plenty of films where love and science are not
He
a
doesn't
great
mention
match.
anything about the movie.
Yeah, we don't even know what Bass9 is talking about. I bet his real name isn't Bass9 as well. So
Maybe he's a sea bass.
and
And he's number 9, and he's
just flopping on a keyboard, just like
he's what's a massive fish called? A school. He's
Yeah.
number 9 in his school of the bass. Yeah.
Do you have your exit buddy? There's a Finding Nemo reference, sorry everyone, but
Oh, it is too. Yeah, sorry.
you're in the EAC and then
I'd heard that before, and I was like,
Where
where's
I
that
got
from? Yeah, it's funny. I haven't watched that movie in ages. Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
And then Dan M gave it 4 stars and said,
Ooh.
Hitchcock plus great story plus psychoanalysis plus Dali equals great film. Major distraction, the green screen skiing scene was laughable.
That-
Dan's on it.
Dan is on it.
Dan is on it. I completely agree with this.
Well done,
audience
Dan.
member. Dan
Yeah.
should be on the show. If you go on to Rotten Tomatoes and you look up this guy's profile, he's just got this weird photo of like him and a camera, just like really like zoomed in, just like holding it up.
Oh, he's like he's a film connoisseur.
He really is.
He's
He
the-
definitely belongs on this
Yeah.
podcast. I'll give you. All right. Audience negatives. Carlos M gave it 2.5 stars.
Carlos. Why?
And why? He said, a poorly written film that deserves more credit for a surreal dream sequence designed by Salvador Dali than a dated plot full of holes and casual sexism, especially now for someone who is supposed to be so rational. Bergman's character is more stupid than our patience can take.
Okay. I don't know if
Some of that I agree with. I agree that she doesn't act intelligently throughout the film. I don't think there is like some of the characters are sexist, but I don't think it's a sexist film.
No,
Yeah.
again, like the protagonist is a female doctor.
Yeah, and she's right, and a lot of the men are idiots in this film.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right. And she ends up being right. Her instincts prove her to be, that that she is right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But again, like, it's that thing of, like, just because of there's people that act sexist in a film doesn't make the film sexist, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
Same way,
Yeah.
12 Years a Slave has a film that shows abhorrent racism, but it's not, the film itself isn't racist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know what you're doing. Margarita S. gave it 3 stars and said, despite the apparent affair between Peck and Bergman while filming this movie. Oh, yeah. So the main 2 characters, they were, like, having an affair, like the actors.
Oh.
Yeah, one of them was married and they were having an affair.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness. Hollywood. People sleeping around?
Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh. The connection didn't quite translate well to screen. The beginning is strongly constructed with an intriguing premise, but it wanes significantly in the middle with flat, repetitive scenes and bland story development, although it picks up again to wrap up.
That was a bit all over the place, but
Yeah.
in terms of a review, but sure.
I don't know. I think they're good chemistry.
I did
Like, you
too.
believe that they were in love with each other.
Yeah.
And our last audience member gave it a half star.
Oh.
This is from Panayota K. And, yeah. And she wrote, must have been really suspenseful in 1945, but not so much today. It was pretty boring and slow-moving. Gregory Peck and Ingrid Bergman were gorgeous, though.
Is that what the half star was for? Because they were
being beautiful.
As in,
people.
they were gorgeous, as in they were a gorgeous couple,
I
or
don't know.
or that they were like
Panayota's-
individually gorgeous looking as film stars. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
That's a bit. What was? Read it again. Sorry.
Must have been pretty suspenseful in 1945. It probably was. Still
Yep.
is today. But she says not so much today. Disagree.
Okay, I disagree, and I think it's. I think it's. It's just films are so fast now. they are.
Film is a fast medium.
But they are like
I can see you with like a scarf and a beret as you say that.
this film was probably like commercially successful at the time, and a film like this, let's say something that won the best picture in the Moonlight is a slow film,
Yeah.
and it isn't as commercially successful, let's say, as The Avengers.
Yeah.
So everyone goes and sees The Avengers, and so they're not like, people aren't viewing films that are like, let's say, I wouldn't even call it slow paced, that are just paced.
Yeah.
That have different pacing in them that aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that's a symptom of that,
Yeah, probably.
of the time, so to
There
speak.
you go.
Yeah.
Panayota, sorry, but that's what's happening in 1945.
So it's an accurate representation, but you can't really take 4.5 stars off the film for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because, it was being what it was when it was released.
Yeah.
They couldn't plan for 80 years ahead.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
That's
why
we're doing this podcast.
That's why we're doing this podcast. Yeah.
So, that's Spellbound. And that's how Spellbound was bound.
Yeah, that was a fun conversation, Nathan.
Yeah, good work.
Yeah.
I really like that one.
Yeah.
What a good film.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done, old chap. We seem
Yeah.
to have done it again.
No, thanks very much. Thanks
Yeah.
for that conversation, and thanks for all of you that have stuck around to listen to us.
It's
through
really
that.
cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool, like, seeing tweets and, like, seeing the stars and, like, having, like, people write in, like, on, like, we have an email if you want to write something longer than a tweet.
We do. Yeah.
What else have we got? If Apple Podcasts isn't your thing, we've got a SoundCloud account, we've got a YouTube account. Go on to that if that's how you listen to stuff.
Yeah, and if there's anything else, any other services you'd like us to put the show on, or upload the show to, let's say, that you would prefer to listen to, just send us a message and let us know.
Yeah.
We always like to try new things and see.
We just choose the film when the week comes.
Yeah,
so, like,
exactly.
We'll just do a random old film, just make sure it's older than 20 years.
Yeah, it's been fun though this
It has
week.
been
It's been a
fun.
fun one. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Well, that was
Alright.
classic movie banter.
Oh no, Bletano, the pizza, it's a burning.
Oh no, the margarita! Get it out,
no.
Nathaniel!
Quickly, the house is going to burn down. I'm going to be blamed for a murder.
I have a guilt complex.
Oh no!
See you next week, guys.
Bye. Everyone.